Hello and welcome to the Big 12 Mafia Holy Rivals Fearless Friday Pick'em Show. I'm your host, Nathan Bomber Brown. With me are my very, very important key contributors, Immaculate View and Moen Show. How you guys doing tonight?
Pretty good.
Good.
Friday.
Awesome. And then we have a guest picker here with us today. We're going to talk about news in college football, but then we'll also go through the picks that we're going to do this week. We also have Wild Ute is popping on right now, actually. Let me move him up here. I'll trade him with Immaculate. There we go. How you doing, Ute? Good to see you.
Hey, what's up, guys? How y'all doing?
What's up, man?
Good. So we'll talk college football news.
Right.
And then at the end of the show, well, not at the end, the second half of the show, we'll do the picks and go through the games that we picked for this week. So just to get started, you've been off for a few days. What's your top of mind right now? All college football.
Top of mind is Michigan. What the heck is going on in Michigan, right?
Right.
Like the scandal going on. Like, what's the severity of the punishment? When's the punishment going to come down? How extensive was this? I thought Immaculate was nails earlier when he's talking to Peek around the corner of Flugar about the betting impact of this.
Oh, sure.
And that's that's probably why this was triggered, like that investigation, and like why the files were found and everything by this firm. So this is so big, and like I think that we're just kind of at the tip of the iceberg. It feels like, and I have no idea what the fallout's going to be. But we're talking about the number 2 team in the nation, guys. Like the Michigan Wolverines playoff last year, one of the biggest brands. And what the heck is going to go on here? That's some wild stuff. But that really is the talk right now, the college football community, like locally and stuff. College game days in town, Salt Lake City. So it is totally juiced out here. But Michigan really is top of mind.
Yeah, I completely agree. We did an emergency episode last night. Had Greg Flugar, Moen, and who else was with us, Moen? Remind me.
Big Ten Ted.
Yeah, Big Ten 10. That's right. It was just last night, and I already forgot. And we went an hour and a half talking about Michigan. That's all it was. And one of those key pieces was the betting piece. It's like if people are putting out money and it's being regulated, like betting is, you can't have any type of cheating involved. It totally screws everything up. People's money is stolen from them essentially, and that means you could, as far as people that are impacted, it could be in the millions. Anyway, it's pretty crazy, and I agree with you. We're gonna start off with that, but first I want to introduce Daniel Gygax. He was one of the first people that joined our first show, me and Ute's first show. I want to welcome him here. Daniel, what's going on with you today?
Actually, not a lot. This is one of the few days that I didn't do 1,000 things, so it's actually nice.
Well, that's okay. I appreciate that, and I know how things go. So we appreciate you being here. I know it's been a while. We've been trying to hook up for a while now. So you being our guest picker on this Friday show is really important, and we're glad you're here. So let's just quickly review where we are with Michigan. Let's talk about the news that broke in the last 48 hours and everything that's going on as it relates to the sign stealing scandal and how pervasive it is. Immaculate, I know you were on Greg's show today. You want to kind of refresh and tell everybody kind of where we stand with that?
Well, the thing that really stuck out for me was that there's a name now going around potentially for that firm that's involved with this, and that's a firm by the name of Integrity. I'm trying to remember the rest. Do you remember the rest of that name, Wild Dude, if you were watching?
I don't.
It was Integrity
I'll
USA, I think, was the name.
Something like that.
I'm find out right now.
And so they are actually contracted with the Big 12 and with other conferences, and it is due to gambling. It's to maintain, everything is in order in terms of numbering and all that. So if they were the firm that was given issuance to get in there, they probably already have that. Since they're on contract, they probably could already go in and look. And so they might have found this while looking into the whole to just gambling issues.
Now, there's a new thing that popped right before the show started. It came on ESPN. This was given to me. I want to make sure I give proper credit. This was given to me by Dylan Vance, who's a West Virginia guy. I don't know if you know him, Daniel, but he's been giving me stories for weeks and months now. So basically, now we've got people hiring other people to go and record future Big Ten games. So how pervasive this has become is really the key. It's like how can they track this down, knowing that the story might not end for weeks and weeks and weeks. And Moen, we talked about this last night. The drip of this, the constant drumbeat, and you just lived through this. The Pac-12 went through an entire year of realignment, drip. And what did it do to your conference?
It killed the conference.
It did.
Like, I mean, it killed the reputation and the narrative of the conference.
It absolutely did.
It was hard.
You might move your mic around away from your mouth a little bit. You just down or up. There you go.
Gotcha.
Moen, so what do you think? I mean, you're worried about this, right?
Can I play a drop?
Of course you can.
You can't keep getting away with it.
They can't keep getting away with it. They just can't. The Big Ten has to step in. Tony Petitti has 17 other schools he's accountable to. He's accountable to commissioners in the ACC and the SEC. Michigan cheated. Michigan needs to be punished this year. He, as the Big Ten commissioner, has the power to do that. We need a conference championship game ban and a postseason ban on Michigan this year. And we'll let the NCAA figure out 2024 and beyond.
So you think it needs to come now?
It needs to come now. You can't let Michigan play the rest of their games and then decide. You need to do it now. They're on their bye week. Now is the time to look at it and say, you're not eligible for the college championship or the conference championship game. You're not eligible for the postseason.
So, I mean, this just seems crazy to me. We've got the school that's won the most football games in all of college football history, and we've got an administration that has basically been cheating for almost 3 years. I don't even know what to say about that going forward.
Long shot here. What if there is some connection between the two different stories, and the FBI is in there saying, "Hey, don't act on this yet," because it's a very real thing about getting in the way of an investigation. And the federals are running an investigation. If they're involved in anything at all, they may not want things changed. I don't know. Just kind of throwing it out there. If nothing pops up whenever the FBI is getting involved, it kind of makes it a bigger deal. I mean, we're talking criminal now, not just civil.
That's what
Go ahead.
I was bringing up earlier. The only other time I can remember the FBI was whenever Kansas, Arizona, with that whole entire deal with Adidas, because they were scamming money and all the other stuff on this. There doesn't sound like a money component on this, but rumors with computers, all this other stuff. Yeah, it's now. It now sounds way bigger than just some guy just showed up in Iowa with a camera and taking pictures.
And there's talk about someone hacked into Ohio State computers over this. There's all kinds of talk going around right now. It's kind of hard to know what's going on, but if we don't hear anything, it might be because things are even more serious than we thought.
So Wild Ute has a college football playoff team that's in the running. So does Moen. You guys both have teams that are on the either in the middle or on the fringe of being at the top of that college football playoff list. If Michigan wins out, and there's a very good chance they do. Ohio State's their last challenge. If they win out, is the disaster bigger later, or is it bigger to do it right now?
Was a bigger disaster if Michigan gets the bowl ban, if that happens, right? The postseason ban now because of the squad, right? Like, I mean, Harbaugh's probably gone, in a year or two. I mean, even after this year, after the scandal, is he going to survive the scandal? Who knows? But this thing's about to fracture. It feels like it's fracturing. So I think that right now it's a bigger deal. And if you hit him this year, it would be massively painful and it'd send the message that the NCAA or the Big Ten needs to send based on this. I mean, come on, guys. Like, we're talking about cheating, like going to SEC stadiums and getting, cheating. It's not just in the Big Ten. Moen, you pointed that out before. This is This is a huge scandal. And so you really need to lay the hammer down. It's the Big Ten that needs to do it. It's not the NCAA. You can't wait 3 years to get it done. It's the Big Ten that has to come in this year and do that.
What
And,
if
yeah.
Michigan comes out and says we're going to regulate ourselves again, like they did with Harbaugh's penalty? What if? Because I could see them trying to do that. I'm dead serious. I think they could try to circumvent it, and they could get ahead of it.
Who's in charge here? Is it Michigan or is it the Big Ten? Right? Like if Michigan pulls that, like that's going to be an interesting power dynamic, right? Like if
I think Michigan pulls it on the NCAA, but I don't think they pulled it on the Big Ten. It's a different thing. Moen, I don't know if you'd agree with me or not, but like when Michigan got ahead of the NCAA, that's actually kind of normal for these schools. But if the Big Ten's involved with this, I really don't see Michigan kind of barking up that one. I don't see them trying to one up their own conference.
Yeah, Michigan has a lot of power within the conference,
but
they don't have more power than the existing members and the new members coming in. Because you got to remember, we have 4 new members coming in. Those 4 members are going to wield quite a bit of power in the West because they've got a 4-vote block.
Yep.
So Michigan's, Ohio State's, Penn State's, their power is all diminished within the new Big Ten model. But even for this year, Michigan cannot stand and be considered better than the teams that are already there. You can't put them against above every other team within the conference.
But see, that's the problem. If they win out, if they're not like taken off the field to play,
you might have to take them off the field to play.
That's what I'm saying. Has that ever happened? We've never seen anything like that happen before.
I think their games will happen because there's a lot of
But
money.
if they happen, they'll affect. If they beat Ohio State, that affects Ohio State.
I don't think they'll have any bearing on. If Ohio State loses to them, Ohio State would still go to the conference championship game.
It's like a scrimmage.
Yeah,
It'd be a one-loss Big Ten champion.
Yep. I know what you're saying, that the loss might keep them out of the CFP.
Yeah, I don't.
That's
a major deal.
That's a reasonable statement, and I get that. And I still, at the same time, say I don't think that they would tell Michigan to not even hold those games because that's a lot of money.
A
lot of home game receipts and.
The only 3 teams off the top of my head that received a death penalty, of course, you've got SMU. That was a pretty big one. University of San Francisco in the 80s because they had a payola scandal with that. And Adolph Rupp with the University of Kentucky, that a lot of that had to do with a point shaving scandal that happened at Madison Square Garden in the 50s. It ended the basketball program for City College of New York, and they ended up winning a couple years before that, the NIT and NCAA.
That's right.
Does this rise to that level of?
I think it does.
We're going to shut down the program completely. Maybe we don't know how deep it goes.
It hurts.
Mm-hmm.
Whomever they're scheduled to go and visit too. Remember, they're supposed to get home receipts for those football games. So if you shut down Michigan, you shut down the teams that are playing against Michigan on that week. And that's what I'm saying. I don't think that's how far the Big Ten would want to go because it doesn't just hurt Michigan, it hurts the other schools. So it runs that risk that Michigan could beat Ohio State. That makes them a 1-loss conference champion, basically. And maybe it keeps them out. But I think that's probably the route they go.
Well, look, you got Washington undefeated. You got Georgia undefeated.
I know.
I mean,
it's
the
real.
It's
a tough choice.
You guys, in the next phase is where did the money come from? And I think that we're getting light on that. Just kind of reading. We get to see what's going on here. So, Jay Harbaugh was friends, supposedly, right, with what's his last name again? What's the scandal guy?
Stallions.
Stallions. So Jay Harbaugh and Stallions were apparently, buddies. So it's not hard to see where he's getting the money from, right? It's probably Jay Harbaugh.
Well, it's documented he received a Venmo transaction from Jay Harbaugh with just that okay sign.
Yeah, so they're already getting the documentation, but just find the money trail here, and that's the last thing that needs to happen. And then this is dead to rights.
And I don't think Jim Harbaugh can deny not knowing Jay Harbaugh.
Right.
Does Jay have purchasing power? Can he do direct payments from the school account, or would someone else had to have done it from Jay Harbaugh asking them? So that's where it comes into whether or not Jim actually knows about this, or if Jay had his hand on on the receipts if he could do it, because he's what? He's the special teams coordinator.
Special
He's-
teams
yeah.
coordinator,
Yeah,
and like, he's the
he's up
son of the
there.
head coach, right?
Yeah.
I know. I'm like, oh, it's not. I didn't even realize this wasn't just happening at Iowa.
Like this is
Right.
this is such a miss right here. If Jim Harbaugh didn't realize his son was doing this with a buddy of his, like what? And then also, like, how can Jim Harbaugh not know if they've got
I
freaking
don't
signs
think-
right there on the sideline?
No way
Like,
he doesn't know.
let's start acting like let's be smart
No,
about this. Let's be real
There
about
is
it. Like,
That's
no
what I brought up.
way.
I mean, Harbaugh needs to go. Like
No way.
Jim
Oh, yeah,
Harbaugh
yeah.
and Jay Harbaugh need to.
Harbaugh will be in the NFL next year. And I've never said that before because I
I mean,
always thought it was garbage. But he's.
I think it's true.
I
No,
think
wait.
he's going to go
Now,
be the Bears.
I don't think he will. And let me explain.
Okay.
Let's say all this blows up at Michigan and his fingerprints are all over this. NFL teams might just step back and say, we're not going to interview you.
I don't think
Yeah.
that's true because I mean Pete Carroll went up to Seattle and won a Super Bowl in 3 years. So
And don't forget
I
who
don't
the
know if
president of
that
the
happens.
Bears is. The
Yeah,
president
yeah.
of the Bears is Kevin Warren, who was the
Yeah, I
previous
don't think-
commissioner, and Harbaugh is a well-beloved person in the whole Bears system and fanhood
Well,
Isn't
back
he
in the day.
like in the top like 4 or 5 with most yards and touchdowns for the Bears in history,
Yeah,
something
he
like
was,
that?
he was the backup for McMahon in the
Mhm.
'85, so he was part of that, and then he carried them after that. So
I
he's
just
pretty
think
well-known.
they're not gonna allow. I mean, for him to stay, it would take major concessions on his part to
No,
keep
yeah,
his job.
I don't
And
think
does
so.
anybody think that Jim Harbaugh's ego would accept, a slap on the wrist and people constantly talking about how you cheated and all these things? I don't think he's going to want
Well-
any of that on campus.
And what if he
I
didn't
don't
know
think
what his
so.
son was doing? Is he going to sit there and let his son take the fall, or he's
Yes,
going to take it
I think-
himself?
I think he does. I think he does.
I think
Because of
either
what
way
you
it goes.
said-
I don't know. I think
because
Jim
of what
actually-
you said, I think he does let his son. I think
don't-
that's the
how can you
reason.
say like you're talking about your coaching staff and like in your staff of analysts, and a guy has a big sheet every freaking game, guys. With
I
how
know.
can you say you don't know what's going on? That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Like to
And that's-
make the argument that's not true. It's a freaking lie.
Yeah.
That bugs just to even
And-
think about that.
So
Like-
did you hear about the point I made about the TCU? Like, after the TCU game, 2 coaches meet in the middle. Why wouldn't the TCU coach have given some kind of, hey, how'd it feel? Or some little thing, because he made him change all of his signs and go to all of that stuff to do for that game. Are you going to come back out there in the middle of the game and just kind of go, good job, coach, good luck next year? You're going to take some type of shot. So how does Harbaugh not put it together in his head? Hey, people are on to us. We better cut this out. And they just bring the guy back again this year and go right back to it like nothing happened. Like, are you that daft?
Yes.
That's what I'm
Well,
thinking. I'm like, he is actually not as bright as we think. Like,
So as
he
we
may be
talked
really-
about last night, who was the team that gave the tip over to TCU?
It was
Ohio
Ohio
State.
State.
It was Ohio State. So it's what this is one of those situations where everybody's okay with the cheating as long as they know they can counter cheat. In other words, communicate to other people to sort of come up with different things. The difference is Ohio State gave TCU an entire month to plan.
Yes.
There's hundreds of, maybe not hundreds, 50 or 60 signs that they had to basically dummy up for an entire game plan, right? So there's no way, there's zero possibility that this could go from week to week. Ohio State couldn't have called Iowa and said, hey man, they're coming. And by the way, we've found out they were doing this cheating. Iowa probably knew, for one. And two, they even if they tell them, they don't have time to prepare with these additional signals. So look, the more I talk about this, the more I think about it. Michigan needs a timeout. That's the best way I can put it. They need a timeout,
Nails, right?
right?
I'm out.
They need it. They need to go sit in the corner. And hey, think about what you've done, and you can still participate. You can do coloring time and all that other stuff, but you're being punished, and you're going to be out of the game for X number of time. That's just what I would say is Michigan needs a timeout, and then the rest of us can move on with our lives, because I do not believe it's going to be acceptable to any of these big name schools to have them come in and continue to sort of pick at their records. I don't think Ohio State wants to run the risk of losing to a Michigan and then being the alternate to get into the CFP. Oh, you're in, but we'll pat you on the head because you actually lost to Michigan. I don't think Ohio State wants to win a national championship that way. Now, first they could just beat them, and then it wouldn't be a question. But if that happens, and that could really happen, I can't even imagine what that looks like in 3 years. And we're looking back, and there's this little asterisk next to Ohio State. Yeah, the one loss wasn't really a loss because we scratched it out with pencil. But they are the national champion. I don't think Ohio State wants that.
I mean,
well, here's the question I have: how much additional money did the Big Ten get having 2 schools in the playoffs? I don't know.
That's another great.
That's it. I mean, is the Big Ten going to sit there and say, no, we don't want to take that extra money? I mean,
Michigan got their pay, and that could come into play because you get a direct pay per school, but the amount that the conference got as a whole wouldn't go up because they had 2 schools in there. It's just those 2 schools get an extra pay up and above. But that comes into play. Like, should they have to, give that money back? But who do you give it back to? The CFP? It's going to get dispersed to everyone. So I don't know.
That's ridiculous. All right. Well, before we actually, you know what? I'm not going to say before. Let's just turn the page. I have another story I wanted to cover before we do our picks. This came again from Dylan, this link. And Dan, you're probably going to want to put your piece in on this. Let me bring up my screen here. This is a tweet I received from Dylan Vance. And basically what it is, it's a 2-page memo, which is remarkable to come from a governor regarding Raekwon Battle, which is a basketball transfer to the University of West Virginia. And is it a guy or a girl? I'm not sure who I think
that this is a guy.
This is Jim Justice.
Jim Justice. Okay. Yeah. So it's a man. I didn't know if it was a man or woman. Wrote this memo, and probably he didn't write it. Somebody else did. But they took the time out of the running of the state to write a memo about a transfer student to a university. This is the level of idiocy we've been put to with transfers. It is completely ridiculous that we have attorney generals and governors writing letters to the NCAA of all people to plead for students to be given access to just play a game. So I saw this, and one, I just shook my head, and 2, my next thought was, wow, I can't believe this continues to happen. But first, Dan, what did you know about this?
I did. This and the Attorney General Morrissey, he's the Attorney General for West Virginia. He was the first one to send a letter out. And Joe Manchin, who's senator, he also, I don't know if it was an official letter or something like that. He sent something out to the NCAA saying, hey, we got to let this guy in. This is the 3rd school that he's at.
Okay.
He's been to. I mean, might as well shoot their shot. And what's Pat Morrissey, he's not originally from West Virginia. He's from Maryland. He moved in. Jim Justice is very, very a Marshall alum. So he understands that West Virginia exists in the state, but he usually doesn't do a lot to support West Virginia. This is one of the few things. Oh, yeah, by the way, he can't run for governor anymore. He's term limited out. So it doesn't matter whether or not he sends this letter out. I mean, might as well shoot your shot, see if you can get something back. I mean, West Virginia has 1.8 million people in. Let's get right down to it. I mean, where I live currently now, I live in the San Francisco Bay Area right now, and we've got 7.5 million people here. So, and you've got people here because with the A situation, you've got congressional members, you've got the governor. I mean, heck, Kamala Harris is talking about, because she's from the East Bay, talking about where the Oakland Athletics are talking about moving down to Las Vegas. So to have politicians go in and say, hey, we want this, this, and this to happen. It's happened a lot. in the past. I mean, it's like I said, here in the Bay Area, it's happening
Right.
with athletics. I mean, heck, it happened with. Whenever I first moved out here was in '93, and that was right before. Well, the Giants were going to move to St. Pete, and I can't remember who was governor at the time, but they had every politician that you had in the Bay Area support the Giants staying here. The Kings were going to move to Seattle.
Right.
And Jerry Brown was governor at the time, and he ended up putting a good word in to get things set up in Sacramento.
And that's kind of what this is,
Yeah,
right? They're basically trying to provide support for that.
Yeah.
That's it.
Saying, hey, NCAA, can you give a waiver? And right now, by the way, they're doing a exhibition game against George Mason on ESPNU. I'm watching that too at the same time.
Nice. Well, that's good timing then.
Yeah, I'm watching it on my phone as I'm talking to you.
What do you think about this whole, these multiple transfer students? The rules are just out of control, aren't they?
Oh yeah, absolutely. There needs to be some governance and everything, but getting like the local politicians involved seems a little excessive. I don't know. Like there has to be more structure with this because it is a mess. I don't know the answer to it, but it's whatever's happening now is not the answer. That's what I can say about it. And yeah, like 3 or 4 transfers is just excessive. So those are my thoughts on him.
JT Daniels is on his 4th school.
Yeah, we know. JT Daniels, the most traveled guy in college football.
Tate Martell.
Another one.
Yeah.
He's still in college?
Yeah.
Tate Martell still in college?
Yeah, I think he plays for Cal Polytechnic Trade School now.
I think he's like 35 years old too. Immaculate. Immaculate, what do you think about all this?
I think whether or not it's choreographed or not, it's one hell of a very broad attack on the NCAA. Every single one of these little data points of attacks on them shows a weakness in the NCAA, what they're bad at, how long they take to do things, how politically messed up it is internally. And in the end, it's just leading more and more people to thinking that, leave the NCAA or get more power into the conference's hands, which would be, the autonomous conferences. One of these routes, I think it's becoming very close to happening. You can pick anything because it's not just this state either. I mean, here in Iowa, with the gambling situation and the captain defensive tackle that was removed, and then now they're talking about changing the rules for this to not even penalize that next year, and yet they won't go back over his waiver. They just pushed it back another 2 weeks. I mean, this is a guy that should be on the team playing right now. He didn't gamble on any of their games. He just gambled, and so those rules that they're going to put in place for next year, he wouldn't even get a slap on the wrist for doing that. And yet he cannot get this waiver pushed through. And he's a captain of the team on the defensive line. So
maybe you ought to call the governor. Maybe
that's,
he can
get her on it. That's what I'm
letter.
saying. Like, everyone is getting so involved. It's like everyone is seeing what other people are doing.
Right.
And then they're doing the same thing. So it's not choreographed, but it's just everyone is learning from watching others do, and so I'm expecting it to pick up.
Well, who was the first one this year that did it? It was the Attorney
North
General
Carolina,
at North Carolina.
Yeah.
That's right. And it's just going to get worse and worse. Next thing you know, you're going to have like the sub attorney's second chair or something is going to be writing letters because it's out of control. Everybody's writing a letter to get somebody included in their college. It's absolutely insane.
There's committees at Congress that are bringing up that are supposed to be about NIL, but they turn out to be more like witch hunts on the NCAA.
Yeah, it's out. It's just out.
You got to remember, the NIL suit was a 9-0. I mean, Democrats and Republicans both hate the NCAA.
Yeah, that'll come around though. I think eventually they'll have to settle on something. Moen, you've been very silent.
What I want to know is why the governor of West Virginia isn't helping West Virginia University with their funding issues.
Oh, that's a whole. I said, he's a Marshall guy, and he has pulled funding. It's been quite a number of years since they had full funding at WVU.
Right. But
yeah, and
West Virginia runs a budget surplus, so why can't they send money to West Virginia University to boost their academic programs to at least where they were in the 90s?
Yeah,
because I visited Morgantown several times, And that used to be a thriving university town. And it's not anymore. Everybody who's there is from West Virginia. There used to be kids from New York that would go there, New Hampshire, Connecticut, Ohio, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, because there were all these programs at WVU. And now there's hardly any programs there. So I know that's a little bit off topic, but I wish politicians would do more for the actual college instead of worrying about a single athlete.
They've and like I said, I live out here in California.
Right.
My daughter goes to school at University of California, Santa Barbara. And originally and even out here, there's like a lot of, and she's majoring in speech therapy. There used to be 7 of the UC schools that had speech therapy. Now there's 3.
Yeah,
So,
we know colleges are getting less and less money every year.
Yeah. So
Money is a problem all around.
But also out here, they're trying to do something a little different. Like, let's say you want to go into medicine. So they're saying, okay, we're going to set up Irvine, Davis, and let's say Riverside. I don't know which ones. They're going to set up, we want you to go here because we're going to concentrate all of our efforts here. But that's still like 5 to 7 years down the road before they get that all fixed.
Well, you live in the most screwed up state in the entire country.
Yeah.
Well, not really about Utah or California.
Let you know, it was $5.18 a gallon of gas that I put in this afternoon.
Yeah,
So,
I know. We're not far behind. We're not far behind you. All right, let's move on to some fun stuff. Let's talk our picks. All right. So we got 8 games this week.
So you don't want to talk about the Michigan Bull Band anymore?
We could talk about it.
No, we've hashed that out.
Yeah.
We could talk about coaches arriving on Harleys.
We can talk about whatever you want
man.
to. I don't think it's.
Let's go to the picks.
That was
we're
a
not
great
gonna
entrance,
we're not
just
gonna
saying.
solve it. We're not gonna solve anything tonight. So.
I just wish that a Michigan politician would just go and tell their Wolverines to quit playing football this season based on the scandal rather
that's
than
not gonna
on the NIL front. So
Yeah, I
Anyway.
that would be great. Anyway,
wait a second. Who was the governor of Michigan that wanted in 2020 said that we don't want to play football? I can't remember her name.
somebody really
Whitmer.
stupid.
Whitmer.
Yeah, that's
Thank you,
idiotic.
Whitmer. Yeah, she wanted to close up football for that season.
I can't believe she's still the governor there. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
well.
All
You
right.
haven't been to Michigan.
No, I haven't, and I'm not sure I ever will be. All right, here we go. Let's talk picks, and we're going to start at the very top. Everybody gets a pick. We'll go round robin on this. I'll bring up everybody so we can see ya. All right. We're starting with Oklahoma -9 at Kansas. Ute, what do you think?
Oh, the Oklahoma Sooners. Give me the Oklahoma Sooners in this game. I think that they're going to be ripping and roaring. I think that is they're going to be the Big 12 champs probably here, and they can make a playoff run here. I think that they're the team to do it. I think they win by 2 touchdowns in this one. So give me Oklahoma.
All right. Before we continue, I forgot to say, if you're watching the show now or if you're watching it taped, if you want to do these picks with us, if you will send me your picks in a DM on Twitter, we will review them on Tuesday. We did that this week with somebody that sent me their picks, and I'm happy to do that. So if you want to participate, we can't go through all your picks during the show. It takes too long live. But if you'll send them to me, we can review them and see how you did on total next week. So feel free to do that. Just send it to me on Twitter, and we'll keep track. All right.
And Bomber, I feel a little upset with KU fans. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Why? Tell me.
Because last week there's a big debate about what the Big 12 tournament should be, and having a conversation if the basketball tournament should be
a debate you started,
KC.
by the way. A debate you started.
And the KU fans lost their freaking minds. Like, seriously. And I know that KU fans, I know that KC is right next door. It's a 45-minute drive from Lawrence. But, you guys need to be a little bit more reasonable about moving stuff around. We're in a different conference now than we were in the past. This isn't just a Midwest conference anymore. It's a national conference. Consider at least rotating it to Vegas and Orlando and other places. Don't just take a home field advantage in KC. So, KU fans, think about that.
Denver.
Thanks for stirring that up again. I was trying
Way to bring that back.
I was trying to sort of skip over that, Ute.
KU's in the Ute doghouse over here. Because seriously, they have a home field advantage in KC. That's bull crap.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't care. Whatever.
What
I don't
basketball
care.
program has Utah ever fielded you? Come on.
Well,
Oh,
Majerus,
Kansas is
Back in the late
Majerus.
90s. Have you ever heard of
Majerus,
Michael Doliak?
yeah,
Majerus?
Kansas is
They had a
gonna
good
Kansas
team.
is gonna win that tournament pretty often, regardless of where they play.
So why do they get a home field advantage if they're the best team in the Big 12?
Well,
That's what I want to know.
Okay,
Everybody
I'll
wants
tell you,
Kansas
No,
barbecue.
stop. I don't have time for this
All
tonight.
about the
I gotta go at
barbecue.
6:30.
All right.
Okay.
So
We're gonna
we'll
move
do
on.
that
but
in a different
there-
show.
there's the reason Oklahoma big over Kansas.
Okay, all right. So that now we know why forevermore Kansas will be the underdog in Utes' mind. All right, I appreciate that. Maybe next week we'll talk about the big
All right.
controversy about Kansas City because I
Okay.
thought that was kind of interesting last week. Anyways,
All right, I got one pick in.
yeah, right. I know, right. It's gonna take forever.
Like literally
Dan-
just one.
Daniel, what do you think about Oklahoma, Kansas?
Oklahoma, they didn't look all that great at Central Florida. Yes, I'm going to call it Central Florida because that's what it says on the sign going into the college. But there's Kansas got so many issues right now. OU's going to cover that 9 so easy. I mean, they're going to probably win by 2 touchdowns and change.
Oh wow. Okay. All right. You really believe in Oklahoma? Okay, Moen.
Boomer.
Sooner.
Okay, and Immaculate.
Yeah, everything is already said. It's Oklahoma, and as Daniel says, I agree. It's going to be pretty substantial.
Does Jalen Daniels play another down this year?
No.
No.
Does he
No.
play another down at Kansas?
Yeah, I don't think so
No.
either.
No.
Unfortunately, I don't think so. I will take. Every time I pick against Kansas, I lose. That's all I'm saying.
Pick Kansas. You can pick them.
Yeah, I'm going to take Kansas because every
All right,
time
there
I
you
picked
go.
against them, I've lost. So whatever.
Plus, to
we'll
give
see.
you a chance to get one back. On
Yeah,
this.
maybe I'll get one. All
You gotta
right.
start playing the game.
Georgia, I don't care that much. Georgia, 14 and a half versus Florida. Meaning it's at Georgia.
Hmm.
No,
So
it's in
this is-
No, it's
Jacksonville.
not. It's
Yeah,
the halfway.
Jacksonville, Florida.
It's at Jacksonville.
Oh, so
Yeah.
why is it V then? V means.
Because it's not Jacksonville is not the home stadium of Florida.
Oh, thank you for
Yeah.
clearing that
Yeah.
up. Okay. See, you're on top of it, Moen. I'm
it's
not
the world's
questioning you.
largest outdoor
Yeah, okay.
cocktail party.
Yeah, this is a
Okay,
rivalry
sure.
game here. So
All right.
That's why this one's tough, and
Oh.
this 14
Okay.
points is tough to look
I'm
at.
All right.
I'm taking Florida in this game. Florida's coming off, I believe, a bye here, and
Mhm.
I think Florida's getting a little hotter. I'm not going to say they're like a SEC contender, but I don't think they lose by more than 2 touchdowns. I think that might be like a 14 to 10 point loss in this one. So that 0.5 is really kind of swinging me. So come on, Gators, make it a game here. Go Florida.
Okay, Daniel.
My sister-in-law went to the University of Florida, and if I say Georgia, they live in Atlanta now. If I say Georgia is going to cover that 14 and a half, I will not be able to step foot in her house. So I'll say Florida is going to cover, but Georgia's just looks really good this year. Again, they'll win, but they're not going to cover 14 and a half. No way.
Okay, Moen.
Brock Bowers is not in this game.
Nope.
There is no way I think Georgia covers 14 and a half. Give me Florida.
Is he hurt?
He's out.
He is injured. He's out.
Okay, then that's going to sway my vote then. Okay, Immaculate.
So you guys are all saying Florida.
Florida.
No,
Mhm.
they're all saying Florida to cover,
Yeah.
not to win.
Yeah, no. But
Yeah,
like
the cover.
Florida. But that's how we pick them. So,
Right.
and you say Florida, Nate?
If I think Brock Bowers should be leading for the Heisman. I don't think it's quarterback this year, but if he's hurt, he's going to lose a game. So, I'll
he's
take
out for the
Florida to
season.
cover.
Mhm.
The guy is a stud. He
How
is
good
absolutely amazing.
do we think the rest of the team is? Because quite frankly, Bowers has been a crutch for them that they could just lean on whenever is necessary.
Sure, that's
So
right.
the loss of him is huge, but my hard part is the rest of that team is full of studs as well, and I don't think we necessarily know where their peak is. So I'm having a hard time because I think they definitely could do this, but it's untested. We don't know.
I don't know.
Mhm.
You know what? Just for the sake of going against, I'm going to go Georgia, but I'm not
Okay.
feeling 100% on that.
Okay. Moen's going to lead this next one off. Ohio State at Wisconsin, laying 14 and a half.
Let me tell you something. Wisconsin, the last 2 times Ohio State's played at Camp Randall, went into overtime. That being said, I'm taking Ohio State at 14.5. Wisconsin just doesn't have the talent this year. You have Marvin Harrison Jr. You have Travion Henderson coming back with the running game. The running game should be mostly improved. Amika Egbuka, the number 2 receiver's coming back. It's too much firepower for Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Give me
Is it
Ohio
a day
State.
game or a night game?
It is night. It is 7:30 Eastern
Okay,
time.
see, I think that makes a difference.
Yes.
I think Wisconsin.
We
was
always
better
end
at
up
night.
playing Wisconsin at Camp Randall at night.
Okay, all right. Immaculate.
I'm going to Ohio State. This year, it's a building year for Wisconsin. They don't have all the personnel for what they're trying to run. They got to do some work on that defense. Their stat lines for their defense doesn't really show kind of how bad it actually is. I don't think Ohio State has a problem getting this many points ahead of them. I think it could be doubled it.
Okay. Daniel.
I'm going to Ohio State. Wisconsin lost. What was it? Minnesota lost to Minnesota last week.
Nope,
That's-
that was
No.
Iowa.
That was
unfortunately.
Iowa.
I'm sorry, Iowa.
That's okay.
I'm sorry.
It's,
I'm
it's
sorry.
still it's a little tender still, but that's okay.
I'm
A
sorry.
week before they lost to Iowa.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
that was our good one.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
No, you're good. You're good, bro.
Okay.
You're
Got a little messed up. Wisconsin's just not looked good.
No.
And 14.5, I'll give that. I'll give 14.5 and take OSU.
Okay. You.
Yeah, we never did talk about that Iowa game, and I'm curious about Immaculate's thought. And I know we don't probably have time to get into it tonight, but I was yelling at the TV when I saw that play at the end of the game. I seriously, it was one of those moments where I almost punched the TV because I was so mad just for Iowa fans. It's just totally BS stuff. How Iowa didn't. Like, I can't believe it. But regardless, here I'm taking Wisconsin, and the reason for that is because Ohio State was in that emotional battle with Penn State last week and everything. I just think you're going to get a sleeper game from Ohio State, expecting a win from Ohio State, but I don't think a cover here.
Who does Ohio State play next week, Moen?
I think Rutgers. I'd have to look at the schedule, but I believe they have Rutgers next week.
Okay.
Ooh, hopefully they don't sleep on them.
Well, then I think. Oh man, it's a night game. I was just gonna pick Ohio State and move on, but the one night game thing, I think there's magic in night games.
Right.
So,
It's magic in night games. And like I said,
Yeah.
the last 2 games they've been at Camp Randall. They've
Yeah.
went to overtime.
I'll take a chance to go with Wisconsin to cover.
Okay.
If it was a day game, then it wouldn't even be a question. All right, do you want to go first or last?
I want to go first here for Oregon, Utah. College game day in town.
Yep.
So excited. There's so much juice going around Salt Lake City right now. You know, we don't like Pat McAfee necessarily on the show, but he's been showing the Utes some love. So my feelings towards McAfee have changed over the last couple of hours. 'Cause he's
So
really been
easily
supporting-
won over.
So Kyle Whittingham's driving motorcycles around with cut-off T-shirts with McAfee.
Who is
It was a pretty good
who
sight.
is he trying to be? He's 63.
Dude,
I mean,
he's just a stud baller,
he-
man.
he's acting like he's 15
He's kind of a
years old.
badass.
Yeah, he
I don't
is. And like he had the
know. He is.
Mahomes glass,
I
like
bought
the
it.
sunglasses, man.
I
and, like,
don't. All right,
the one
whatever.
thing is, the one thing I don't like about that is like, is that a distraction, right?
I
Like,
think it is.
then that's an issue.
They did not. So let me just
For
interject
Utah.
something. I watched that whole college game day segment, the entire thing, like from start to finish, all McAfee, and they didn't talk about Oregon once. It was F BYU, F BYU, F BYU, and Utah's been disrespected for 900 years. They didn't talk about Oregon at all.
That's
And I'm
great. You
telling
guys
you
are
right
gonna have
now.
a great rivalry.
I didn't like
Oregon.
some of the language there, Bomber. Like that was, I don't like.
Oh,
that
and
kind of
I
stuff.
actually don't. That
Makes
doesn't
me
bother me.
background.
I like that better than the F the Mormons. I'm much
Yeah.
better with F BYU. That's okay. I have no problem with that. But it's the complete disregard for Oregon that
I
I'm
don't like
talking
that
about.
at all. I don't like
Yeah,
that.
they did not mention. Just go back and watch it. Queue up after we're done here. Queue up Pat McAfee's show, and you'll see it was all about soaking and all this other distraction
Right.
stuff. Him rolling up on his motorcycle, acting like he's 15 years old. They didn't talk about Oregon at all. I think they're high off of the USC thing, and I think Oregon.
Just throw the pick in. Okay, so Bombers on Oregon here.
I would say by
the Oregon
2 touchdowns.
Bombers on Oregon. So yeah, Bombers on Oregon by 2 touchdowns.
Yes.
Here. I'm on Utah winning straight up here by 3 points. Here.
Okay, wow.
Like
Okay, there you go.
Like it's what 27-24 type football game, and like I'll tell you guys out there that I'm going to take some responsibility because I'm going to give it every little ounce that I've got. I'm going to be at game day tomorrow morning. I'm going to be at the game. I'm going to lose every part of my voice to make sure.
That's sweet.
Right on.
I'm serious about that. Like
I'm happy for you.
Everything that I can do.
I think that's
Got your alarm
fantastic.
set for 5 a.m.
I do. You know, I'm taking the whole family out there to game day at 7 a.m. and then you're going to the game, man, and like warming up the vocal cords. So I won't have much tomorrow night, but I'll give everything. Just like
Eat some pasta tonight, maybe. You know, get those carb loading going. All right. Anyway, Daniel, what do you got?
I have seen exactly maybe 5 minutes of Oregon that was against Washington.
And that was a toss-up game, by the way.
Yes, that was. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Utah can cover that. I mean, it is in Salt Lake. I think they can cover that.
All right. So
I don't think
Utah.
Like I said, Oregon's beatable.
Okay. All right. Moen.
Quack, quack, shucky, ducky. Oregon wins this by 2 touchdowns.
There we go. I'm into that too. Immaculate.
Well, it's at home. So that already gets me some points on the Utah side. They have shown that is a tough place to come in and win. I think that if you're actually giving that the point or taking the points from Oregon, that helps Utah even more. I do think Whittingham will have the team ready to play that team tonight. It's Whittingham. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. And what we have seen is that they now have a quarterback.
Bryson Barnes played well last
He's
week.
even getting national attention on it.
Yeah.
And when you have that going for you, and I think that this is a big game for them. I don't think they're going to look past this one. I don't think they're just thinking of BYU. I just, it is what it is. That rivalry between you guys is pretty good, so it pops up. But I got Utah at home. I think they're going to take this straight up.
All right. That's fair enough. We're moving on to BYU, Texas. I'm going to go last, but Numbskull News has his pick in, and he says BYU shocks the world. So this is fantastic for me because it's 19 points. 19 points. So you get to go first here.
I'm taking BYU in this game. Like, I mean, we talked about this how many times, Bond. When you ever disrespect BYU, Utah like this, a 19-point line, give me a freaking break. Seriously, like I think Texas pulls it out and stuff, but that's very disrespectful for 19 points. No, like this is a conference game for this year and stuff. I just think that the Cougars are going to play really, really good in this game. I don't see them pulling it out, but I have a hard time seeing them get blown out by 3 scores. So taking BYU.
Very good. Daniel.
Let's go BYU on that.
Sweet.
Texas looks good, but they're not 19 points good. No way, no how. BYU.
Okay, very good. I like it. Short and sweet. Moen.
The last time BYU went to a Texas school, they got absolutely thrashed. Give me Texas.
I love the faith. That's awesome. Thank you. Immaculate.
Yeah, the 19 points. Texas might still win this one, but sorry to say, I don't think that they're going to take BYU as seriously as they should. For whatever
I don't know
reason,
about that because Sarkisian's from
I
Pro.
understand.
He came to
I just mean the
BYU,
team
so.
as a whole. This team plays well against good teams. They do not play well when they feel like they're playing down.
Right. Okay.
And I don't think that, like I said, they can still win, but I don't see them winning by 19 over BYU.
All right. Very good.
BYU.
I like that. That's good. Let's move to the next one. Tennessee at Kentucky. Daniel.
I will take Rocky Top in that one.
Good. Okay.
Kentucky does have a couple holes. Tennessee seems like they're starting to get things put together again. So, I mean, got to go Rocky Top on that one.
All right. Very good. What do you think, Moen?
Give me Rocky Top, Tennessee.
Rocky Top, Tennessee.
I think they're going to bounce back after that loss last week. I think they're going to be upset and ready to upset Kentucky, because I think Kentucky, even though Tennessee's favored by 3.5, I think most people have Kentucky winning this game.
Okay, so you think that Tennessee covers then?
I think Tennessee wins and covers.
Okay.
So.
All right. Very good. Immaculate.
Yeah, I picked on Kentucky earlier in the year, and turns out we found out they have some good points, but they got some really bad points too. And I think Tennessee is going to have plenty of footage to look back on it and see what they need to do against this Kentucky team. And Tennessee was beating Alabama for half a game, so I do think that they have the potential to beat Kentucky. So Tennessee.
Okay, I'm gonna take Kentucky in the points. So
I'm taking Kentucky.
yeah, I think Tennessee was a paper tiger at the beginning of the season. I think we're finding out Florida again was not that team. And anyway, okay, very good. Really quick, Sooner Lemon's in here. Sooner Lemon, I still need your address. You need to send me a DM or an email. Send me an email. Here, I'll type in the comment section. Here is my email. I need you to send me your address so that I can send you one of my rally towels. So here we go. Big 12 Mafia at gmail.com. All right, I'm just having fun with you, but there you go. Send me that, and I'll get your. You're the only one I haven't sent out so far. But he says, Boomer Sooner, we about to fry Kansas. So we paid $10 to dunk on Kansas. I like that.
Worth it.
That's a guy who is into college football right there.
Mhm.
That is fantastic. Thank you so much, Boomer Sooner. You've been a paid member for, I think, from the beginning, and I really, really appreciate it. Being with an Oklahoma, you're never sure what you're paying attention to. So to have you here, I want you to know I really appreciate you. And Oklahoma this year has been good, and I picked them at the beginning. So, all right, let's go to Colorado, UCLA. Ute, go ahead.
This is a coin flip with a 16.5 point line. UCLA seems to have found some footing. Colorado was off a bye week, but they've got no defense and they're thin. Oh gosh, I'm going Colorado.
Okay. Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And every time I've gone with the Buffs, I've lost this year, but I'm going with the Buffs.
Okay. So you think they bounce back after all the noise?
I don't think they're going to win straight up, but I don't think they're going to lose by 17.
Okay, that's fair. Daniel.
That's way too many points. Way too many points. So give me the Colorado Primes and there. I mean, you're right. 17 points. I don't think they'll lose by that much.
Okay. The Colorado Primes.
The Fighting Primes.
Fighting Primes.
To have a guy.
I didn't make that up.
No, I know
somebody
you
else
didn't.
had that on there.
What's funny about that is that it's true. It's not
Yeah.
the Colorado Buffaloes anymore. It is
Yeah.
absolutely prime time USA. There's nothing else. It's Nirvana for Deion Sanders. That's all I can say.
I can't remember if it was Coos or somebody had it there that called them the Colorado Primes.
I love that. Well, I wish that I give credit to whoever did that. That's fantastic. Moen.
Listen, this is going to be UCLA is going to be up big in this game, and then they're going to take a breather, and you're going to have the backdoor Buffs covering. Give me Colorado.
These nicknames are fantastic. The backdoor Buffs. Okay. Immaculate.
Yeah, I don't think Colorado has lost by that many all year, have they?
I don't think so.
They always seem to
They
win
lost by that many to Oregon, right?
Yeah.
Oh, Oregon
Okay,
boat raced them. That's
At
true.
Oregon, yep,
boat
that's right.
raced them.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
UCLA, they're not Oregon, and I actually think that the Buffs, plus they have an extra day of practice. They had a Friday game, didn't they?
I can't remember last
So
time.
they got
Colorado
that one
played.
extra day of preparation. I don't think UCLA is good enough to win by that much. They might still win, but I actually think Colorado comes back and gets this win. We'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah,
You think
Colorado.
they win outright?
I think they could.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I think they could.
So when I voted against UCLA in the recent past, and it was against Ute's recommendation because you said they could run the ball. right?
can run
You
the
said
ball,
they can
You
run the
said
ball, which
Very good.
which if they can run the ball, they can shorten the game.
Mhm.
So if they do get ahead, if they're able to control the clock, then that 16 and a half doesn't look so fanciful, right? So if you think about it, I don't know. 16 and a half is still a lot. I don't normally pick against a spread that big, but UCLA can control the clock. It could happen. I'm going to take Colorado in the points, but if it was like 2 points shorter, if it was 14 and a half, I probably would take UCLA.
I'm surprised the line's that high. Doesn't it feel like it should be like 13 and a half?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think it's a 2 touchdown game. Now it's 17
Yeah.
points. I don't know who did that, but anyway. All right, and our last game is Duke Louisville. We did talk about possibly changing out this game for other options. There was a Washington game and some other things, but this is the best one that we could find on the board that had low enough point spread that it seemed like the game was going to be close. So Duke at Louisville. Louisville's given 3.5. What do you think, you?
Is Leonard playing, or is he going to be at this game? I
He
know
played last week.
but he came out in the game. Remember when the Duke was leading FSU, and then he came.
Yeah, but
out
he wasn't even supposed to play last week, and they brought him out. So I think he'll be there. That dude's pretty tough.
If he plays, I want Duke, and like I'm assuming he's playing based on this conversation. So I'm taking
Yeah,
Duke.
I don't know, so don't be like, "Hey, he said."
I'm going to blame it on you, Immaculate.
I have a feeling he'll be there.
All right, Daniel.
I will take Louisville just because it's in Louisville, Kentucky. Both teams are really good this year. And just because they're in Kentucky, that's the only reason why. Duke has to travel up from North Carolina. Both teams, that's the ultimate coin flip game that we have this week.
Okay. So you think Duke is too far to travel in Louisville coverage?
No. Just due to the fact that it's in front of the Louisville home crowd.
Oh, okay.
That's the only reason.
Okay.
But it's a coin flip, really.
All right. Moen.
Notre Dame beat Duke and lost to Louisville, so I'm takingLouisville 3.5. Just because Louisville beat
Transitive
wins. Properties.
We
team
love
that beat
that.
Notre Dame is a team I pick.
We love that on this channel. Transitive wins. National championships are bound. Okay, I appreciate that. Immaculate.
Well, I think Duke has played very well against teams that have more talent than them. I don't think Louisville is that much more of a talented team than Duke. So if you're putting these two teams out there now, it is in Louisville, but these two teams, I got to give the hand to Duke. I have not seen them ever really have like a down game. Like they seem to be the most like consistent with it. So I don't know how Louisville beat Notre Dame, to be quite honest. They're actually kind of a small team. This is going to be a team that Duke actually is not going to be undersized to. So I actually think Duke could win this one pretty handedly.
Very fair. Sooner Lemon, again, a paid member and still doing the super chats. We appreciate it, Sooner Lemon. He says, I got Duke on this one. Also, I sent you the email. Also, BYU is going to smash Texas Horns down.
Ooh, there we go.
Are you impressed with that? I read that all in one sentence. All in one breath.
You got the gist of it, too.
Let's do that again. I got Duke on this one. Also, I sent you the email. Also, BYU is to smash Texas Horns down.
Horns down.
You got the full $5 worth in there.
Nice job, Sooner Lemon.
Thank you, Sooner Lemon. That was fantastic. I appreciate you doing that. That made me feel good.
Hey, guys, I've got a thought here. I think that we need to put together a point spread on realignment moves. Like where I'm serious about that. Like we should come up with our own point spread on like Miami to Big 10 or SEC.
Let's do
or
it.
Big 12.
Well, I think
This is why we got.
You want to
This is why you're here, Wilder.
odds together.
Nice.
Like, so like, yeah,
I
they're
would
going to be
love
our
it.
own odds and everything. There's nothing out there like that.
Sure.
But I
No,
think
there
that we
isn't.
should-
How
we
you
should
going to
have our
figure
own
out the
odds.
system? Because how are you going to set that up?
Immaculate. If
Simply in the noggin here, Immaculate.
well, hang on a second. Let's see. If he builds the system, can you keep track, Immaculate? Because I think you
Probably.
could probably come up with something that.
I agree with you. That's why I'm asking him. Like, what's the system going to
So
be?
if you build
gonna
something,
come out of his
Immaculate
head.
will keep track.
Okay, I could try to model the realignment moves and everything. We could put a point spread on them.
Yeah.
Okay.
If not, I know this guy named Money Moen who can set odds on pretty much anything.
Yeah, I mean, like seriously, we don't need a model. We've got Money Moen here too.
All right, whatever. I think it's a wonderful idea, and we can keep track from show to show. I think that'd be great. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that'd be
But
awesome.
we'd be
Let's go ahead
keeping
and do
track
that.
from like press release to press release, and
It
like
could change
everything-
weekly or daily.
'cause
Yeah.
just like with
Yeah, we should
FSU,
have
it's
some
starting to
odds on
change.
this. Like Miami should have like the odds.
But
on,
we
like,
should
every
we should do a
conference.
realignment pool where
Yeah.
it's just like a pool. Who moves first and where do they move?
Yeah.
That's what we need to do on this show, guys.
And we'll do it as a snake draft.
Okay. Okay. So I draft Oregon State.
Well, you don't get a pick. It's
I
random.
do. I
It's-
pick them right now. I just took them. Nobody else gets them. That's all I'm saying. I already took them. You guys can fight over everybody else. I win because I get Oregon State. All right, Sooner Lemon, thank you so much. That was fantastic. I loved going through that. It didn't even, just so you know, I didn't even plan on reading it like that. It just sort of came out that way, but it turned out to be the best thing of the show. So I really appreciate it. And I never gave my pick, but I'm going to take Louisville at home.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
So I told my wife I am exactly at 6:30, so I actually have to go. Do you guys want to stick around and chat more? I certainly that's up to you guys if you want to do that. But I got a jet tonight.
You want to run it?
Yeah, let's keep going.
All right,
Did you log in as administrator?
Oh, I didn't actually.
Why don't you log out and log back in, and I'll take
All right.
off. While he's doing that, guys, I appreciate you being here. Daniel, it's been so good to have you here. I hope you had fun.
I did.
That's the one thing I always guarantee our guests when they're here. If they're not laughing, they're not into the show, because that's all we do. It's pretty funny. Just looking at some of these comments here while we're waiting for you to come back. Let's see. Horns down, Mike Smith says, I like that. I'm guessing Casting for Chrome says how home field wins this one. I guess he's thinking Louisville. That would be my guess. Let's talk about Malik Murphy. So Quinn Ewers is out for Utah, right?
No.
And Malik
Texas.
Murphy he's going to be playing. Yeah, Texas. We're talking about Texas right now. He's starting his first game. He's played in backup roles a couple times. Do you guys think that has any effect on the game as it's going to play out?
No, they're going to run the ball. That offensive line, they're going to run the ball. It's going to be run
Okay.
heavy. Run
Okay.
heavy.
You know, BYU is like third in the nation in picks.
Okay.
Just saying.
Well,
So if
they're
they-
gonna run the
it-
ball.
Yeah,
Do
it's
you
gonna
think
be
Sarkisian has the patience to run the ball?
Yeah.
I don't. That's why I
We'll
think
see.
that's why I think BYU can win this game, is because they'll turn the ball over and
I think Texas has 200 yards of rushing.
does that win though?
Oh,
Is that enough to
wins.
win?
That's enough to win.
I don't know.
that's
Daniel,
Their
you're
offensive
grinding.
line is legit. Their
But I'm not
Yeah,
saying
but-
they're not.
yeah, but
I'm
they
not
don't-
saying they're not. I'm not
yeah,
saying
but
they're
they're not going to scheme for 200 yards of rushing.
I think they will. I think Steve Sarkisian will say, "Hey, let me not put too much pressure on my backup. Let's do a run game. Let's control the clock. Let's just smash mouth football this game until I can get Quinn Ewers back."
Yeah, but Texas is still Texas. They're going to still throw the heck out of the ball.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. We'll get a couple.
Yeah, but 200 yards rushing, a lot of that is system. But then again, they could run, like get a couple of really big runs right off the go and like a couple 60-yard runs. And next thing you know, hey, it's all done and over with for the 200.
really quick, just so because we're still waiting for you, and I'm not sure, maybe got lost on I-15 or something, but Cleveland Rock says yes, but we're dying because of losing 3 first-rounders for Watson. So my Seattle Seahawks are going to be up in Cleveland this Saturday
Go Hawks.
or Sunday. I mean, go Hawks. Actually, I might be wrong about that. Cleveland, are they at home or away? Actually, I'm not sure. If you're in Seattle, get ready for a game. If they're in Cleveland, it might be more difficult to do that. But how is that looking now? That trade and then the $252 million contract for Watson in Cleveland. I mean, that just
The game is at the mistake on the lake.
is it okay?
Yep.
So if it's in Cleveland, then I think it'll be a closer game. I still think Seattle can win, but it'll be harder because their defense is legit for sure.
Their defense is legit, but PJ Walker's a turnover machine. He's going to throw 3 picks. He gets really frustrated when he misses a shot, and he's got John Kitna syndrome.
Oh no!
Yeah, as soon as he misses a shot, he overthrows the next one.
I have nightmares about John Kitna because he was in Seattle for so long. I don't even want to talk about him at all. I didn't want to think about him. That's hard. Yeah, I think Cleveland's in real trouble. You got a team right now that could be elite, but it's bad. I think Watson's deal was a big deal. All right, you in?
Guys, yeah, I'm having some tech issues on my end and everything. I need to relog in and stuff, so I think we should shut it down for the night. Sorry, guys.
Okay,
all right.
That's all right. No, right. So before we do that, let's just say goodbye. Daniel, what do you want to say to everybody that's out there?
West Virginia is going to beat Central Florida by 2 touchdowns.
Okay, excellent. Moen?
Ohio State is going to beat the Badgers by 21.
Wow. Okay.
Utah is going to beat Oregon by 3.
Fair. I think that's a very fair pick. Immaculate.
I don't have to worry about Iowa's offense this weekend.
It's the one weekend you have it off. That's right.
I got a smile on my face. Yep.
Cleveland Rock says it's in Seattle. So I'm just telling you right now, in Seattle.
Okay. Yeah.
Winning.
Yeah.
That's anyway. All right.
Anyway, at it real quick. So.
Anyway, everybody enjoy their games this weekend. We appreciate you being here tonight. It's been a fun show. Hope you had fun. And we'll be getting together again on Tuesday. I don't think a reason why we can't do it Tuesday next week. And we'll review our picks from the weekend, and then we'll talk about how sad it is that Utah lost at home. Anyways, everybody stay out of trouble. I appreciate you being here. Daniel, thanks again for showing up. And peace out.